department.
No, other than no. When I came in last week, it was absolutely nothing, and I'm sure I either came. I was here Tuesday. I was here all day Tuesday because the county was closed, and I got nothing. That's why I read my packet. Everything was basic.
Yeah.
And then today when we come in, that's why I'm like, what the?
I'm going to go ahead and call the May 13th Common Council meeting to order.
Yeah.
I ask everyone to turn off your any electronic devices that you might have or place them on the silent mode. Can everyone please stand? We're very pleased to have with us from Hope Ministries, Mr. Hotelli, who will give the invocation. Will you please come to the podium at this time?
Please pray with me as you feel comfortable. Dear Father, always near us, may your name be treasured and loved, especially in our city. Please bring your agenda to our world, and may your will be done here on earth, and especially in our city, just the way it is done in heaven. Give us tonight the things we need tonight. Please grant us your guidance and wisdom, especially for those who discuss issues and make decisions. Forgive us, Father, for the times when we have failed to seek the good of our city. Forgive us for the times that we have not protected the most vulnerable. Forgive us for the times that we have not appropriately considered the impact on all parties who would be affected by decisions. And help us to forgive those who we perceive to be guilty of doing these very things. Father, please keep us and our city from unnecessary troubles and difficulties, and deliver our city from the problems and evils that exist in it. This city, the power to make it better, and the credit for making it better, ultimately all belong to you. Amen.
Amen.
We'll now have the pledge to the flag.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
You may be seated. I would like to welcome to our council meeting Troop 111. Would you please stand? And if your troop leader would like to give us any opening comments, we'll welcome you to do so at this time.
Let's give you a round of applause.
All right. Thank you so much. If you're here in response to Resolution 1935, this resolution has been tabled until May 28, 2019, as requested by the petitioner. Also, our next meeting will not be held on May 27th because that is a holiday, unless you would like to come and be here all by yourselves. But if not, our next meeting will actually be on the Tuesday, May 28, 2019. Do we need a motion to accept that in terms of the last meeting? Yes. Okay. At this time, I would like to ask Deputy City Clerk Jennifer Kaufman to do the roll call.
Councilmember Preston?
Here.
Councilmember McBride?
Present.
Councilmember Roden?
Here.
Councilmember Teschka?
Here.
Councilmember Davis? Councilmember Vorty?
Here.
Councilmember Furlick?
Here.
Vice President White?
Present.
President Scott? Excused. 7 present.
Thank you. We will not be able to accept the report from the subcommittee on minutes because Council President Scott is not with us and he has an excuse absent. I believe he's on vacation. So at our May 28th meeting, we will accept the subcommittee report on minutes. There is no special business at this time. Do we have anyone from the city that will be representing the city this evening? Okay, I think it's Lord Sullivan. Thank you so much. We'll now go directly into bills on third reading, the resolutions. At this time, could we have third reading, Mrs. Jennifer Kaufman, on Bill 1919?
1919, a resolution confirming the adoption of a declaratory resolution designating certain areas within the city of South Bend, Indiana, commonly known as 1545 South Olive Street, South Bend, Indiana 46619, as an economic revitalization area for purposes of a 5-year personal property tax abatement for Molding Plastics, LLC.
Thank you. This is a confirming resolution, so we will not have a committee report. At this time, do we have a presenter? We do ask that you state your name and address, please.
Good evening, council members. Dan Buckenmeyer, the director, Department of Community Investment, 14th floor of this building. So we have 5 separate abatements we're going to go through tonight. This is not the right presentation. This is last week's. Yeah. But in any event, science pictures, we can walk through this. We've seen the pictures, we know the story. So the first one we're looking at is a personal property tax abatement. So this is on capital equipment for Molding Products. Molding Products is a great South Bend business. They do plastics manufacturing. Their end product is raw material for everything from bathtubs to Corvette fenders. So a very neat product and business working here in South Bend. What we are doing is supporting them in continuing an investment and expanding their facility, doubling their production. It's a $5 million private investment in tanks, mixers, pumps, etc., all the equipment that makes their magic happen. They will be retaining 45 jobs and creating 20 new jobs with this assistance. They all are at least an $18 an hour wage. It's a 5-year abatement, as all personal property tax abatements are. During that period, we'll abate about $52,000 in giving them that assistance, but they will still pay about $687,500 in that time period. So, petitioners here, if you have any questions for them, but again, we ask for your support on this.
Before we move to the petitioner, council members, do we have any questions from community investment? Okay, thank you. Will the petitioner please come forward if you would like to share some brief comments regarding the resolution that's before us?
Tim Blackham, 1545 South Olive. I'm the planning and Molding Products. Just like to express our gratitude for the support that we've been shown by Dr. Meyer and council. So look forward to this support and many more years of operation in South Bend and expanding our business program.
Thank you so much. Council members, do you have any questions of the petitioner? If not, we thank you for your investment in our city. At this time, we'll go to the public hearing portion. Is there anyone present wishing to speak in support of Resolution 1919? Seeing no one, is there anyone present wishing to speak in opposition? Again, I see no one. The public hearing portion is now closed. Council members, what is your pleasure?
Move for adoption. Second.
It's been moved and seconded. Are there any questions? If not, all those in favor of the motion, may I hear you vote?
Aye.
Those opposed, the motion carries. Resolution 1919 stands adopted. Thank you so much. We'll now move to Resolution 1921. Ms. Kaufman, would you please read this resolution?
1921.
I'm sorry. Resolutions is roll call. Yeah.
Roll call, I'm sorry.
Oh, okay.
Roll call.
Roll call on 1919. Councilmember Preston.
Aye.
Councilmember McBride.
Aye.
Councilmember Broden.
Aye.
Councilmember Teschka.
Aye.
Councilmember Vorty.
Aye.
Councilmember Furlick.
Aye.
Vice President White.
Aye.
7 ayes.
1919 stands adopted. We'll now move to Resolution 1921.
1921, a resolution confirming the adoption of a declaratory resolution designating certain areas within the city of South Bend, Indiana, commonly known as 5245 Dillon Drive, South Bend, Indiana 46628, as an economic revitalization area for purposes of a 5-year personal property tax abatement for Chase Plastic Services, Inc.
Thank you. Is there a report to community investment?
No report needed.
From Dan. He's asking Dan if he has anything.
Oh, I'm sorry. I
That's
thought you
no
meant
problem.
community investment committee. Sorry.
Would you like to offer some comments from?
Certainly,
community
Dan
investment?
Buckenmeyer again, from Department of Community Investment in this building, 14th floor. So our next two actually will relate to the same company but by different names. And so briefly, Chase Plastics is the company, and we're talking now about the personal property tax abatement. Just for clarity, in a moment, we'll talk about the building expansion that these will go in under CPK land development, which is the related entities. So in any event, we're talking now again about capital equipment, a personal property tax abatement. This will be again racking, forklifts, and the like to go into their expansion of their facility. About $823,000 investment that they're going to be making in, again, the things I just mentioned. 19 retained, 12 new jobs anticipated. Their wage range is $17 to $21 an hour. They will pay about $32,000 in taxes during this abatement period, but will abate an almost equal amount of 26. So Mr. Michael Hall and Bob Hoff are here from Chase Plastics and are available to speak on this, or if you want to.
Any questions, council members, that you may have from presentation?
Combine them for purpose of public hearing.
Public hearing.
Make a motion to combine just the presentation for purpose of the public hearing.
Second.
Ms. moved and seconded. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Motion carries.
Thank you.
Curiously read,
sorry.
would you please read 1925, please?
Nin-
Resolution.
1925, a resolution confirming the adoption of a declaratory resolution designating certain areas within the city of South Bend, Indiana, commonly known as 5245 Dillon Drive, South Bend, Indiana 46628, as an economic revitalization area for purposes of a 7-year real property tax abatement for CBK Land Development, LLC.
Thank you.
So again, as I previously mentioned, we're talking now about the building that will house the capital equipment we just spoke of. This is a $3.5 million investment for the petitioner. Adds 8,000 square feet to their existing facility, and then additional docks and so on. So a 65% increase in their storage capacity. So they're a Michigan company. They moved this logistics and warehousing facility here in South Bend in 2014, and we're just thrilled to see them expanding here. And from our perspective, thrilled to support them, and we hope for your ongoing support. Again, and then in terms of, we will be abating about $470,000 in taxes as this phase is in, but they will still pay about $118,000 on this portion of the building throughout that period, in addition to their other property taxes. Again, the petitioners are here. If you're ready.
I would like for them to come to the podium and to share brief comments regarding the two resolutions that are before us.
Good evening, Michael Hall, 5245 Dillon Drive. Thank you for your support, your commitment to us. South Bend, as we found, is the perfect location for our logistics and distribution facility, especially in that logistics corridor that's in Cleveland, US 30. These tax abatements will help us continue to grow our business in a profitable manner, but more importantly, it allows us to invest back into the community with additional jobs, as you said, 12 creation, and giving our team members tools to really bang out their career path. So the construction aspect of this is going to be local contractors as well as the materials. We'll try to do the best we can get it in this Michigan area, or very worst cases Midwest region. So
Thank you. Council members, do you have any questions regarding these two resolutions?
Yes, please.
Councilmember Grover.
Thank you. Mr. Buckmeyer, could you address past abatements with regard to this in compliance with this petitioner, please?
Anytime the Department of Community Investment looks at a potential petitioner for an abatement, we of course look back and see what their history is, if they've had any other abatements or anything else in that regard. We vet these businesses and abatements very diligently. In this case, as I mentioned, Chase Plastics came in and built their existing facility and outfitted it with the assistance of tax abatement support from the city back in 2014. They have been and remain in compliance with those tax abatements over the years, and they will continue. There's about a year left in each of those the real property tax abatement.
And as a follow-up, where would members of the public or the scout troops that are here, if they would like to look at those reports, where could they find those, please?
You know what, I'm going to have to get back to you on that. We talked about that. I'm trying to find the exact location in, so we do an annual report, as you all know, to council on tax abatements. It's that season right now. All of our existing companies who enjoy tax abatements are getting their compliance forms in. Their deadline is 2 days from now, and then our deadline to report back to council is June 15th. So we'll be doing a report to council as we do every year. I'm guessing it's on the council webpage. I'm trying to find. I apologize for not knowing off the top of my head where that resides, but it is, of course, transparent public information. I'll go back to you.
Any additional questions, comments?
Just to follow up for the benefit of the audience, just what is a tax abatement and how is it impacting? Just quickly, just the quick version.
What is a tax abatement?
For the benefit of the scouts.
Absolutely. No, it's a great question. So a tax abatement is when you consider, we'll take a real property tax abatement. So in the case of, I'll use one that's a little simpler, we have an empty field up on the northwest side of town. So you can imagine that empty field right now, in the corn growing, and pay a very low tax rate. So when somebody comes in and then puts a gorgeous building on it, that land has a tremendous increase in value and tax value for the community, for our tax rolls, and what we can invest back into the community. Now, what a tax abatement does is give the investor, when they build a building like this for 12, 18, whatever $million it costs to build a facility of this scale, we want to help them out and help them ramp into the cost of this and not have to pay all those taxes right away when they could better invest in employing more of our residents, invest in what they need to fill it, invest in building their business further in our community, and so on. So a tax abatement essentially gives them a ramp-up period where they don't pay the full amount of that tax in year 1, 2, 3, but it ramps up slowly, and by the end of the, say, 6, 7-year tax abatement, they will be paying that full tax amount as they should be. But again, the city has done our part in terms of assisting, and it can go many different ways. If it's a residential project, it can help offset the cost of, it takes time to get new tenants to get in those apartments. If it's, in the cases, the next two we're going to talk about are what we call spec buildings. So we've got investors building buildings without an existing tenant. They don't have anybody who's going to pay rent in the immediate future. So we want to give them the ability to have an incentive and have the ability to ramp into that without having a huge cash outlay immediately, and help them be successful in our community. So how was that?
Wonderful.
Thank you.
Nice job, yes.
Nice job.
Thanks, Dan. That's why we pay the big bucks.
We definitely will, we have a quiz for the truth. So get ready, okay? At this time, if there's no other questions or comments from council members, we'll now move to the public hearing portion. Is there anyone present wishing to speak in support of Resolution 1921? Seeing no one, is there anyone present wishing to speak in opposition? Again, I see no one. Council members, what is your pleasure?
I'll make a motion to adopt 1921.
Second.
Is it moved and seconded? All those in favor?
Aye.
We now move to roll call.
I'm sorry.
Roll call.
Councilmember McBride,
Aye.
Councilmember Broden,
Aye.
Councilmember Teschka,
Aye.
Councilmember Vorty,
Aye.
Councilmember Furlick,
Aye.
Councilmember Preston,
Aye.
Vice President White.
Aye.
7 ayes.
1921 stands adopted. We'll now move to the public hearing portion for 1925. Is there anyone present wishing to speak in support of 1925? Seeing no one, is there anyone present wishing to speak in opposition? Again, I see no one. The public hearing portion is now closed. Council members, may I entertain a motion?
For the adoption of 1925.
Second.
It's moved and seconded. Roll call, please.
Councilmember Broden,
Aye.
Councilmember Teschka,
Aye.
Councilmember Vorty,
Aye.
Councilmember Furlick, Councilmember Preston,
Aye.
Councilmember McBride,
Aye.
Vice President White.
Aye.
7 ayes.
Thank you. Will you please give third reading to Resolution 1929?
1929, a resolution confirming the adoption of a declaratory resolution designating certain areas within the city of South Bend, Indiana, commonly known as northeast corner of Adam Road and US 31 Bypass, South Bend, Indiana 46628, as an economic revitalization area for purposes of a 6-year real property tax abatement for GLC Portage Prairie 4 LLC.
Okay. This is also a confirming resolution, but we've asked for a brief overview in regards to what is actually happening. There's a lot of misinformation or assumptions in regards to the proposed Amazon building that may be coming to, or will be coming to the city of South Bend. So we wanted to make sure that there's clarity in regards to the action that will be taken tonight, but also the role of the council at this particular time. And so we welcome your opening comments in that regard.
Certainly. Again, Dan Buckenmeyer, Community Investment 14th Floor. So, yes, there is apparently confusion out there about who this particular tax abatement is for. Confusion that it may be for, as I understand it, Amazon. That is not the case. This, as I stated before, this is a spec building. There, and the petitioner will confirm there is no anticipated tenant for this. They don't have anyone. They haven't even probably talked to anyone because it's again still a empty field. As it relates to Amazon, Amazon is going into, as we understand it, has signed a lease for a what used to be a spec building. This is how spec buildings work. They are built without tenants. New tenants come in. So a spec building that was built back about 2 years ago, the tax abatement was given about 2 years ago, and it has been built between now and then. And Amazon, as we understand it, has signed a lease there and will be moving into that building. We are not entertaining any tax abatement with Amazon tonight. In fact, Amazon has never had a conversation with the Department of Community Investment or the city, nor have we given or had any conversations with Amazon about any direct incentives to them.
So if any citizens or others may have questions regarding Amazon and the potential being part of the spec building, who should they contact?
They can contact Department of Community Investment, and I'll kind of repeat the same thing. I've said everything I know.
Thank you so much.
So,
We thank you for that clarification.
of course.
Thank you so much. At this time, we'll receive the report from the Department of Community Investment in regards to Resolution 1929.
Thank you. If you'll humor me now, you got me started. Just for the audience again, and, ladies and gentlemen here, if there's any indicator of, from an economic development standpoint, a building development, community development standpoint of how strong your economy is in terms of its business vitality, it is the willingness of investors, companies to build structures without an existing tenant. It really, the fact that spec building, somebody's willing to invest in a huge structure, and we're talking about 2 in the next few moments, that will together encompass about square feet under roof, an immense amount of real estate, if you will, and it's really a testament to the strength of our economy right now and what our smartest developers and investors in town think is going on. So it's very exciting for us to be considering this spec buildings and supporting them. They bring in great new companies and so on, so we're excited about it. This one in particular is going in just north of Adams Road in Dillon, right along the, right about in that spot. This is all one track, but it'll fill this spot. There's a large 400,000 square foot building here, which is the home of CTDI, which was originally a spec building, but this one will go here. It's about 166,000 square feet, about a $7 million project. It'll have very close access by the Ameritech and Cleveland Drive interchange, which we'll be redoing next year, to both the bypass and 8090. And again, because these are spec buildings, we talk about investment, and the other big thing we typically talk about are the number of jobs they'll bring to the community. Because it's a spec building, we don't know how many jobs they'll bring today, but it takes a few people to manage a building of 166,000 square feet, so we're confident, and certainly GLC has a great track record with other spec buildings they've built in the community. Here's a look at what it will look like. It's going to break ground this year. I believe he finished next year, but the petitioner, Jeff Smoke, is here to speak with the petitioner and can answer any additional questions, share additional detail.
Thank you, and I appreciate that summary as well. Will you please state your name and address?
Good evening, thank you. Jeff Smoke, 112 West Jefferson. I'm the Director of Development for Release Capital. Dan did a great presentation. I want to thank the Office of Community Investment for all their support. This is our fourth building out there. The first three have generated over 800-900 jobs. So we're a good track record out there. We're just trying to keep the momentum going for this one.
Okay, thank you. Council members, do you have any questions of the petitioner? Thank you for your continued investment in our city.
Thank you.
At this time, we go to the public hearing portion. Is there anyone present, excuse me, wishing to speak in support of Resolution 1929? Seeing no one, is there anyone present wishing to speak in opposition? Again, I see no one. The public hearing portion is now closed.
Move for the adoption of 1929. Second.
It's moved and seconded. Roll call, please.
Councilmember Teschka,
Aye.
Councilmember Vorty,
Aye.
Councilmember Furlick,
Aye.
Councilmember Preston,
Aye.
Councilmember McBride,
Aye.
Councilmember Broden,
Aye.
Vice President White.
Aye.
7 ayes.
Thank you. Resolution 1929 has been adopted. Will you please give third reading to Resolution 1931?
1931, a resolution confirming the adoption of a declaratory resolution designating certain areas within the city of South Bend, Indiana, commonly known as 24605 Cleveland Road, South Bend, Indiana, 46628, as an economic revitalization area for purposes of a 6-year real property tax abatement for 31 Nimps Land, LLC.
Thank you. Is there a report from Community Investment, please?
Yes, there is. Thank you. Again, Dan Buckenmeyer, Department of Community Investment, 14 Lotus Building. This is the second of two spec buildings tonight, as I noted. It is going to be right next to the bypass here and just north of Nitz Parkway. So everyone knows Tire Rack, which is right over just northwest of it a little bit. So it takes, again, empty site. It's going to soon house a 225,000 square foot building, 40 dock positions, or if they get need for more, they'll add them. It's about almost a $13 million investment. Remember, always these numbers are conservative as we go through all these. Again, direct access to the bypass at 90. And again, we don't specify a number of jobs, but we are confident that there will be significant job growth with this size and scope of a facility. This is being done by another great partner in South Bend. The landowner, the group is Nimps Land LLC, but Holiday Properties is the developer, and Paul Fair members here from Holiday and add anything else.
Thank you. Any questions that you may have? Okay. Will the developer please come and give us a brief summary of Resolution 1931?
Sure. Paul Fair with Holiday Properties, 227 South Main Street here in South Bend. I want to thank you all first for the opportunity to be here again tonight, and thanks to Dan and the rest of the Department of Community Investment for all of their assistance and help through this process. We're really excited about the project. It continues the trend and momentum of industrial development out in this area, really taking advantage of a great infrastructure asset where we have the toll road and US 31 intersecting. Although we're competitors with Great Lakes on spec building, really excited to have both buildings going at the same time. It'll just generate more eyeballs from outside of the area when we have that much square footage coming online. So I'm hoping that's really a positive for us in the entire area. It's a significant investment for us and for the community. The tax payment is vital and really helping to help offset some of the risk of going into it as a purely speculative development. So we appreciate the support, and I'm happy to answer any questions.
Any questions? Again, we thank you for your continued support and investment in our community as well. We'll now move to the public hearing portion. Is there anyone present wishing to speak in support of Resolution 1931? Seeing no one, is there anyone present wishing to speak in opposition? Again, I see no one. The public hearing portion is now closed.
Move for the adoption of 1931. Second.
It's been moved and seconded. Roll call, please.
Councilmember Vorty?
Aye.
Councilmember Furlick?
Aye.
Councilmember Preston?
Aye.
Councilmember McBride?
Aye.
Councilmember Roden?
Aye.
Councilmember Teschka?
Aye.
Vice President White?
Aye.
7 ayes.
Thank you. Resolution 1931 is adopted. Now would like to, okay. As we continue with our committee council meeting, I want to share with the troops, members that are here and also the leader, it may appear as if we're going through and taking quick action, but these particular resolutions have been discussed previously. We've had at least 2 committee meetings and 1 today as well. So again, there's a process that we go through, and so that we do spend a lot of time going through, asking questions, and all you have to do is ask any member of the administration. We do ask questions. And so again, I just wanted to share that with you too. At this time, could you give third reading to Resolution 1931? 1934, I'm sorry.
1934, a resolution of the Common Council of the City of South Bend, Indiana, approving and authorizing certain actions and proceedings with respect to certain proposed economic development revenue bonds and related matters.
Is there a committee report?
Yes, community investment sends this forward favorably.
Thank you. Do we have a petitioner? Just come to the podium. And state your name and address, please.
Chase Schulte, 45 South 5th Street.
Would you give us a brief summary of the resolution that's before us?
Sure. So we are requesting council to approve. We're requesting the council to approve the inducement of tax-exempt bonds and activity bonds for the revitalization of senior apartments located at 45 South 5th Street. Run through this as quickly as possible.
Can you push the mic up a little bit closer to you, please?
Sure. Sorry about that.
Oh, no problem.
Just talk louder.
If I'm,
We are Merchants of Florence Housing Corporation.
you had just asked whether or not we wanted a short or fast overview or whatever, and I'm just going to ask, your overview is very instructive, but, or I think would be very instructive, but one of the pieces that we didn't go over in detail was kind of your breakout of your revenues and your expenditures. You have a specific page on that. Those would that would meet my needs, and I don't know if there's others. Thank you.
In terms of the sources and uses of the project, are you looking for rental?
You had a, I'm sorry, the page is not marked. Let me see if I get the title.
While she's doing that, I think maybe you were asked for the good of the order here to kind of maybe explain a little bit about what you're asking us to do.
Sure. So we are asking the county council to act as a conduit for the rehabilitation of this apartment building. So basically, in order for us to get the funding sources we need, using the city to provide a financing mechanism so that we can.
Excuse me, could you speak into the microphone?
Oh, sorry.
Because it's being taped, that's the reason why.
Sorry about that.
Okay.
So we are asking the city of South Bend to provide us with a financing mechanism in order to access money from the state, basically, in order to rehabilitate and purchase our building here in South Bend.
Okay, thank you. And so now, Councilmember Broden, is this the?
Yes, sources
Okay, could
and
you
uses.
go
Thank
through
you.
that particular slide for us, please?
Sure. So total development costs are estimated anywhere between $12 million to $13 million at this point. Still finalizing our last few items. We are requesting about $7.3 million in taxes and bonds. That should meet the 50% test in order to access the 4% low-income housing tax credits. We'll be utilizing, like I said, tax credits. That's the LP capital line there. Taking out about 7.7, close to maybe $8 million in debt on the project to finance development. And then we'll also be deferring some development fee on the project in order to fill our gap financing, as well as apply for a federal home loan bank grant through the Affordable Housing Program. On the uses side, we'll be spending about $4.1 million on rehab for the project. Acquisition of the property will get us close to $6 million, and the remainder in development fee and software costs.
Councilmember Broden, does
Yes,
that address
thank
your
you.
question? Are there any other questions that council members may have from the developer? Would you like to add any additional comments at this time? We thank you for your presentation.
I do have.
Okay.
I'm sorry.
I'm sorry, could you stay at the podium?
Just say quickly, please. Your construction company, CRG Residential, where are they located out of, and are they, just where are they located out of, and do they utilize employees or independent contractors?
Sure. CRG Residential is located in Carmel, Indiana. They'll be using a combination of both their own labor as well as subcontractors. I don't have the exact amount of expected local participation. It is in the resolution, but they will be subcontracting.
Thank you. Oh, and then with regard to your set aside for permanent supportive housing, I know we discussed this in committee, but I would actually just like to affirmatively state, and we are a very rich local community with regard to the supportive side of permanent supportive. And I understand, I'm just looking at your portfolio, you have Gary-based, Indianapolis-based, and I see this would be your first project in our community. And I think you will find, as you work, in the negotiations with the city of South Bend, at least from what you expressed earlier, that you're very comfortable at the 5 units. And I guess, my support on this will be, I would really like to see, I don't want that number to be undercut or lowballed just because of your level of comfort. And so I would like to make sure that embedded in with this is that intention that's in these slides, that you would consider going up to as many as, I believe it was 18 units?
Correct.
Okay. I just want to make sure that, we are a very robust community in that regard. We do the supportive stuff well, and I hope that your, first toe in the community in terms of this project, I hope that If you need others in the community to help round that out, and leadership on the council or within the local organizations to help you feel comfortable with our ability to deliver that, I would love to have a conversation with you, and as I think other council members would.
Yeah, absolutely. We welcome that conversation.
Okay, great.
Thank you. Any other questions? Thank you for your presentation. We'll now move to the public hearing portion. Is there anyone present wishing to speak in support of Resolution 1934? State your name and address, please.
Jason Whitney, Critchlow, 3822 West 4th Street. Love this project. Love this once troublesome property is one, A, turned around its reputation, and B, as we go forward, will stay low, affordable housing. And then just an opportunity to ask a couple questions so we can clarify some things for the public that the public might not know. These kind of conduit bonds don't cost the city anything, correct? That way, there's a lot of misconception around that online, and I know from history that that's not the case. Also, when we do these kind of conduit bonds, it doesn't inhibit our future borrowing capacities because it doesn't go on the city's debt limit, and then this doesn't prevent us from doing any other kind of project, in that area during the same time. So, ask for the support of this. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
And thank you for bringing that up, because the answer to both of those questions is that you are correct. Thank you so much. Is there anyone else present wishing to speak in support of Resolution 1934? Seeing no one, is there anyone present wishing to speak in opposition? Again, I see no one. The public hearing portion is now closed. Entertain a motion.
Motion for adoption?
Second.
It's moved and seconded. Roll call, please.
Councilmember Furlick.
Aye.
Councilmember Preston.
Aye.
Councilmember McBride.
Aye.
Councilmember Broden.
Aye.
Councilmember Teschka.
Aye.
Councilmember Vorty.
Aye.
Vice President White.
Aye.
7 ayes.
Thank you. Resolution 1934 is adopted. I would like to entertain a motion regarding 1935 to continue until the May 28th meeting as requested by the petitioner.
So moved.
It's been moved and seconded. All those in favor of the motion?
Aye.
Those opposed, the motion carries. Now we move to bills on first reading. Ms. Kaufman, will you please read Bill 1219?
1219, first reading on an ordinance amending the zoning ordinance for property located at the northeast corner of Corby Boulevard and South Bend Avenue, Councilmanic District Number 4 in the city of South Bend, Indiana.
Entertain a motion, please, regarding.
I move that, sorry.
Okay, this one.
Yeah.
Yes. Agency.
618.
Yep, APC, so I will move, John. Councilmember Gordy, that this be sent to Area Plan Commission on 6/18, and then back to our Zoning and Annexation Committee on 6/24.
That's correct. It's been moved and seconded. All those in favor of the motion, may I hear your vote?
Aye.
Motion carries. Ms. Kaufman, will you please read the first reading to Bill 1319?
1319, first reading on an ordinance amending the zoning ordinance for property located at 3102 East Mishawaka Avenue, Councilmanic District Number 3 in the city of South Bend, Indiana.
Entertain a motion regarding this bill.
Move to send this bill to Area Plan Commission for hearing on 6/18 and the Zoning Annexation Committee 6/24.
That's correct. Is there a second?
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. All those in favor of the motion, may I hear your vote?
Aye.
Those opposed, the motion carries. Ms. Kaufman, will you please give first reading to Bill 1419?
1419, first reading on an ordinance of the Common Council of the City of South Bend, Indiana, amending Chapter 21 of the South Bend Municipal Code, Article 1, Basic Provisions, Article 2, Residential Districts, Article 7, General Regulations, and Article 11, Definitions to add a new SF3 Residential Flex District.
Entertain a motion.
I move that this be sent to Area Plan Commission on June 18th for their meeting, and then back to Zoning and Annexation Committee on June 24th.
Second.
It's moved and seconded. All those in favor of the motion, I hear your vote.
Aye.
Those opposed, the motion carries. Ms. Kaufman, will you please give first reading to Bill 15-19?
1519, first reading on an ordinance of the Common Council of the City of South Bend, Indiana, amending Chapter 21 of the South Bend Municipal Code, Article 3, Commercial Mixed-Use Districts to revise permitted uses and development standards.
I move that this bill be sent to the Area Plan Commission for their meeting on 6/18 and then return to our Zoning and Annexation Committee for consideration on 6/24.
Second.
It's moved and seconded. All those in favor of the motion, I hear your vote.
Aye.
Those opposed, the motion carries. We'll now move to unfinished business. Resolution 1936.
1936, a resolution of the Common Council of the City of South Bend, Indiana, approving a petition of the Area Board of Zoning Appeals for the property located at 1405, 1423, 1507, and 1511 Elwood Avenue.
Is there a motion?
I move that this be sent to our Utilities Committee for second reading public hearing on May 28th.
Second.
So moved and seconded. All those in favor of the motion?
Aye.
Those opposed, the motion carries. We'll now move to new business. Is there any new business? Council members that you would like to add on? I would just like to add that Councilmember Oliver Davis did receive his PhD in social work this past weekend, so we wish him the very best. So he will now be called Dr. Oliver Davis, okay?
Councilman Doctor.
We're now under privilege of the floor. This is an opportunity that anyone in the public, if you would like to address the council on any issues that were not discussed and was not an agenda item, you can do that at this time. You have 3 minutes. I'm going to ask Council Member Gavin Furlick to keep track of the time. You have 3 minutes. When you do come to the podium, please state your name and address. Thank you so much.
Jason Benicki, First Load 3822 4th Street. There's a topic going on in the news, and it's something that I had an opportunity to talk with a lot of people as I was out walking door to door throughout all the 6th District. And it was a lot about infrastructure and the beautiful brick roads that we have underneath a lot of our asphalt on our side streets. And, you know, I think that's something where we have to look at having a comprehensive plan on how to restore those on those side streets, because they bring to us really 3 key benefits, you know, that asphalt don't. One, you know, they're a lot more durable and hold up a lot better over the long haul and a lot cheaper for the city over their lifespan than asphalt is. 2, they're a lot greener because they allow water to go through them naturally to get into that water surface. Now we're not having to deal with where's that storm water going. Every time it rains, it's going to go down in the water table. And 3, one of the things that people complain about most is how many of our side streets get driven through now, like their main fares or people doing 60 or 70 miles an hour. But when you have brick roads, that naturally slows people down and serves as a traffic deterrent, as opposed to us having to put up speed humps or great chicanes or other traffic calming mechanisms. Brick roads serve as a permanent one. So I think we can't just look at the one that's getting attention in the news now on LaSalle Avenue, but look at a larger program of how do we work to restore these brick roads throughout the city, particularly on our side streets, where I think they have a lot of benefits.
Thank you for bringing that to our attention. We did receive an update from Eric Horvath, and that was one area that he did share with us, so I would ask him to reach out to you, but also I know that he will be giving additional information to the public, so we really appreciate you bringing that before the council. Anyone else wishing to address under privilege of the floor?
Thank you, Madam Chairman. Richard Erda, 3104 Springbrook Drive. Just wanted to say the Troop 111 appreciates the courtesy and the education that the council's given us tonight. And it's typical of all of our experiences here. We want to thank especially the members of the council who aren't going to be with us as they complete their terms. Thank you for your service for our community. We very much appreciate it. For those of you returning, we look forward to hearing you again in the not too distant future. Thank you.
Thank you for those kind comments as well. Anyone from the public? Seeing no, anyone from the public wishing to come to the podium under privilege of the floor, please feel free to come and do so. Please state your name and address.
Make a line.
Good evening, Joe Sutherland Jr., 310 East Oakside, South Bend, Indiana. petition that I'd like to have somebody give to you folks. And at the same time, I've got some pictures that I'd like to have you folks look at, if you would, please. The petition is for, on Oakside, between Carroll and Fellows, there's only parking on one side of the street. There's 3 signs posted that say no parking on the south side of the street. So us folks, we have to use the alleyway to get to our homes, and from our homes, when we have company come over, they have to use the alleyway as well. So that being said, we would, done 6 signatures, we'd like you guys to consider paving the alley between Carroll and Fellows Streets. There's a picture there on Prairie Avenue where one of the alleys had been paved in the city of South Bend. I think it's a step that could benefit us all, and especially the folks that live there that want to have visitors come over. And it's an issue that I've been dealing with for 20 years, because I've lived there for 20 years. At the same time, there is, for me to ask you guys to invest, I believe that I have to invest in the community and into my neighborhood to make it look nice. So you'll see 2 pictures of my home at 310. We have put, me and my wife have put brand new windows in about 8 years ago, and that cost us $4,000. And we just did finish the front of the house last year, and that went in stone, and that cost us $6,000. So I believe we're doing our part in making the neighborhood look well, and I would hope you guys would consider with the situation of paving of the alley, because initially the city set up the development over there, and they just didn't make the street wide enough for parking on both sides of the street. And lastly, I'd like to assess, there's a lot right across the street from my house that is a vacant lot. There was a house there that the city did us well and they tore it down, but that created an empty lot. Now this empty lot is gonna sit there for the next 30 or 40 years, because I had a good friend of mine who is an architect tell me to put a house on that lot, just like mine, 3-bedroom, 1.5 bath, would initially cost, in today's cost, for labor and materials, about $110,000.
You have 30 seconds.
On my best day, I could sell my house for $80,000. Nobody's gonna make that investment. I think that lot will set open for 30 years or so. If we could plant trees on there, like have the city arbiter come out there and strategically plant trees, it would create fresh breathing air, it would close the hole that's there and make like an oasis, and it would keep people from noticing the tall grass that grows. And I've hit the city last year with 5 phone calls because the grass got in excess of 12 inches. Well, if you got 4-foot trees there, you're not gonna notice the grass. Thank you for your
comments. And I do know that your district representative, I don't know if you had a conversation with the council member? Okay. Thank you for coming. At this time, there's no one on the privilege of the floor, unless there's.
I do have a question. So going forward, there has been considerable discussion across the community, primarily social media, with regard to the South Bend Animal Care and Control Ordinance. And anybody who has been following this might be aware that it's been 4 years in the works, I would think, or going on 4th year. And what I would suggest is that this does fall under the Health and Public Safety Committee's responsibilities, and there will be several meetings. That means maybe 1 or more than 1, possibly 2, because it is such a substantial change that we will be looking at that at a separate and distinct meeting from the council before we even consider it. So, and I have been in conversations with our code enforcement department head, Tracy Skippins, and we will try to calendar those dates and then bring that forward in a real transparent and methodical way so that we can have a good community discussion on that, and then the council will be well informed about the changes we'll be asked to look at. And then second, this would be a request, and I know Councilmember Davis is not here to affirm this, but for consideration on 1519, I think our community would benefit for that prior to that going to the Area Plan Commission for consideration. It is a, I think department, I think it's an area plan amendment recommendation, and I don't think council, at least thus far, has had much education or input on the on that actual piece. So it might be helpful overall, and I think because it is a very important change that should be made, but I think it would benefit from our community if we actually had it presented at a committee level, more thoroughly, because it actually brings about some really good improvements. But if we don't have the education piece, it lands at the Area Plan Commission, and really our broader community has no idea what it's about.
I would ask the city clerk office to reach out to Councilmember Davis as we begin to look at this ordinance. And I would suggest that we would look at having a separate meeting where we just focus on not only the animal control resolution or report that's coming before us, but also this one as well. So thank you. We have a motion and a second, and we are now adjourned. Thank you so much for all your help.
And now, see you later, guys. Bless me. Oh, goodness. Hey, Jay, you could probably talk to Bowman Creek to see if they want to do any planning over there. They may, because I know that they're starting to do some. If not, call me. I got another group, because actually, even though I know Joe was planting on Sunny Beach side, he may still have some trees or have some access to plant some over there. Maybe there's a neighborhood crew over there who want to, but he just gave home Sunny Beach to planting their trees. So maybe he has some, but Boulevard Creek does stuff like that too. Yep, Gary July. Oh, he's the head of it, so yep. Call Gary. Yep, I'm ready, girl. I don't know where that one is. I usually try to wait. I just walk away. I be like, no. Do it so they can go home.
Coming down over, he over there talking.
I usually try to do it so they go home.
This one wasn't even plugged in?
Yeah.
Where is it plugged in?
Yeah, I heard it when I checked.
Oh, it's over there. I'll let them do it. It's okay.
That's fine with me.
I'll let the expert do it.
Yeah, see, you hear that, Regina? He said, thank you, Sharon. I try to help them to go out of here.
Hey, that one is plugged somewhere. I don't know.
You gonna leave it because the council meeting tomorrow?
Yeah.
County meeting tomorrow. Gotcha. All right, Regina. You guys have a good one. Bye-bye. Thank you. Nice to meet you.
So that was that level, but that's down here.
Kids are kids.